Hello guys, and welcome to our first tutorial video on this channel. In today's video, we are going to be starting with a brief introduction into the IELTS writing task 2, and then we are also going to be looking into one of the 5 essay types for today. Okay, so that is our goal for today, right? Okay, so before we move on, just a brief introduction of myself. My name is Adenike, and I recently wrote the IELTS exam in February 2026 and achieved a band 8.0 in my writing section, and I thought it's good to to just share the things that I know with people that might be struggling with IELTS writing. Okay, I'm going to be sharing with you everything that I know, and I assure you that if you follow the things that I'll be sharing with you on this channel, you're assured of a minimum of 7.5 in your IELTS writing exam. So without further ado, let's get right into today's video. So we're going to be starting with the types of essay that we have. Okay, so basically we have 5 types of essay based on IELTS standard. Okay, based on IELTS curriculum, we have 5 types of essay, which is the opinion essay, the advantages and disadvantages essay, the advantages outweigh disadvantages essay, the discuss both sides essay, and then the double question essay. Okay, so this double question is often perceived to be quite complex because it comes in 3 different forms. It can come in 3 different forms. Okay, so it can come in form of a question and answer, it can come in form of a problem and solution question, it can come in form of cause and effect question. Okay, but having simplified it, if you can simplify it into these 3 subdivisions, it makes it very easy for you to be able to answer, for you to be able to approach the question. Okay, that is why I've gone ahead to simplify it into these 3 subdivisions. Okay, so today we are going to be starting with this double question essay. Okay, we're going to be starting with this because, like I said in my first video, I always like to start from the most complex one down to the easiest one. Okay, so if you kick off solving the difficult ones, you build your level of confidence and make it easy for you to be able to handle the less complex one. Okay, so in today's video, like I said, we're going to be doing a brief introduction and then starting with one type of essay. We are going to be starting with the double question essay. Now if you have not watched my first video where I shared how I was able to achieve a band 8.0, the things that I did helped me, that I believed helped me achieve a band 8.0 in my writing, you can go ahead and check out my previous video on this channel. Okay, so we're going to be moving on to the writing structure. Okay, how are you supposed to structure your writing? Okay, so basically in IELTS writing, your essay is expected to have 4 paragraphs. That is the standard, right? Although for some certain types of essay you can extend it into 5 paragraphs, right? But that can make things a little bit complex or complicated for people that have not yet mastered the art. Okay, so basically you can do 4 paragraphs. Okay, but for people that are probably maybe you're very good, or during your preparation, during your practice, you mastered how to use 5 paragraphs, then you can go ahead to use 5 paragraphs in your essay. But basically, like I said, with my score, I only did 4 paragraphs. Okay, and most people will advise you to stick to just 4 paragraphs to avoid making things very complicated. But then you can learn 5 paragraphs. For certain types of essay, 5 paragraphs does not work for all essay types. Okay, I think it basically works for when you're doing discuss both sides and state your opinion. Right, so some people like to do 5 paragraphs for that, but when we get to that section, we're going to be looking into both types. Okay, we're going to be looking at the 4 paragraphs essay and then the 5 paragraphs essay. So basically for your, like I said, it can be extended into 5 paragraphs. Now for your paragraph 1 is expected to be introduction. Okay, you're not expected to do your paragraph 1 for all your essay is your introduction. Then we are going to be looking at what your introduction should entail shortly. Now your paragraph 2 should be the body 1 of your essay. Your paragraph 3 is the body 2 of your essay, and paragraph 4 is the conclusion of your essay. Right? So we have paragraph 1 introduction, paragraph 2 body 1, paragraph 3 body 2, and then paragraph 4 conclusion. We're going to be looking at what these 4 parts of your essay should contain. Okay, we're going to be looking at it shortly now. Now here we have our introduction. Your introduction is the first paragraph in all your essays. Like I said earlier, introduction is the first paragraph of all your essay. right? Now in this paragraph, you are only expected to paraphrase the question and state your stand. Like we established here, that your paragraph 1 is expected to be your introduction. Now, what are you supposed to put in your introduction? In your introduction, you are only expected to paraphrase the question and state your stand. This is not where you expand on your ideas. This is not where where you state your ideas or you start writing. No, you only paraphrase the question that you have been given, and then you state your stand or your opinion. Now, there's a general format that can help you. Okay, that can help you easily remember what you are expected to do in your introduction. Now, the format here is to rephrase your question. Right, to rephrase the question you've been given. When we look at examples, you're going to understand how we can go about this, okay? How you can rephrase your question perfectly. Now, basically, you start with rephrasing your question, then you can use introduction starters. We have what we call introduction starters, which I've also spoken about here, and we're going to be looking at it briefly shortly, okay? So basically, you rephrase your question, you use introduction starters where applicable. Introduction starters is not always applicable in all essay types, okay, but the essay types where you can use it, they are great English terms that tell your examiner that you know what you're doing, that you know how to write, okay, and they're just simple phrases that you can learn, okay. So we're also going to look at introduction starters. Then you can also add collocations. Collocations are also great addition to your write-up, okay. They are great additions, and I tell you that it can help to improve your band score, and then you state your stand, okay. So when you follow this format and then you include all these four where applicable, like I said, you don't need to force it into your introduction if it does not apply, okay. So where applicable, if when you use this introduction form, probably use 3 out of the 4, or you use the full 4, it's like I said earlier, it's like you doing a fried rice, like doing a balanced meal rather than just doing average, okay. So it means that you have gone beyond average and then you have done something excellent, okay. So you can just write this format down and remember it, okay. So we move to the second thing. Your paragraph 2 is expected to be your body paragraph 1. Now this is where you start the main work, right? So this paragraph consists of 3 basic things, okay. So your body paragraph 1, your paragraph 2 for your essay is your body paragraph 1, and then it consists of 3 basic things. The first thing is your main sentence, the second one is your supporting sentence, and then the third one is the relevant example. So your main sentence is also like your main idea, your topic sentence, okay. So you state that first, and then after the main sentence you put a full stop. Don't worry, we are going to be looking at all of this is now practice example. So you state your main idea, okay, and then you put a full stop, and then you expand on it, which is your supporting sentence, okay. And then for each paragraph, okay, it is best that you have, if you can, add 1 relevant example each in each body paragraph. Do not let your example should not exceed 1 per body paragraph. And then in some cases you can use just 1 example in the whole essay, okay. Your example can be in only body paragraph 1, okay, and not in body paragraph 2 for your essay. It is also fine, okay. But where applicable, you can add your relevant example in both body paragraph 1 and body paragraph 2. We are going to be looking at how to write an example, okay. Now we move to the third paragraph. In your third paragraph, what you should have is your body paragraph 2. Your body paragraph 2, and this is similar to body paragraph 1. You have to follow the same pattern. So your body paragraph 2, the pattern for your body paragraph 2 is similar to the pattern for your body paragraph 1, which means that this will also have a main sentence, a supporting sentence, and a relevant example, okay. Now the fourth paragraph would be your conclusion, okay. So in the fourth paragraph of your essay, what you have to put there is your conclusion. So here you are expected to summarize your points from body paragraph 1 and body paragraph 2 and nothing more. So in your conclusion, you are not starting a new idea, you are not introducing a new idea that you did not mention in body paragraph 1 and body paragraph 2. That would be totally wrong. So here you are only summarizing, you are only restating the fact that you have mentioned earlier. Okay, so we're also going to be looking at how to write great conclusions. Now, for each of the essay types that we have here, for each of these 5 essay types, how to start your body paragraph 1, your body paragraph 2, your conclusion, and even your introduction differs for each of these essay types. Okay, the writing structure of the 4 parts of your essay, like I said, the 4 parts: your introduction, your body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, and conclusion. Okay, the writing structure for each of the 5 essay types differs one from the another. And what I mean is that the introduction for opinion essay will differ from the introduction for advantage and disadvantages. It will differ from the introduction of discuss both sides, double questions. I hope we get that. The body paragraph 1, the approach. Okay, the approach would be different, but then you can use the same ideas. Okay, you can use the same ideas. The ideas can be replicated, can be borrowed. Okay, but then just the approach. Okay, you're going to be getting all of this in detail when we start our practice examples. You're going to be seeing all of this in details when we start our practice examples. Okay, so now let's move to the next thing, which is the IELTS language. Okay, so we've started by looking at the types of essay. We are talking about the writing structure, okay, for each of the types of the essay, and now we are moving to the IELTS language. Maybe you have heard people say that IELTS has its own language, okay, and then you're wondering, what does it really mean, right? Now, basically, the IELTS language simply refers to specific English terms, phrases, and collocations that can help you improve your writing. So you basically refers to specific phrases, you know, your starters are also part of the language, okay, IELTS language, how you start, how you conclude, okay, your linking words, and so on and so forth. Okay, so it refers to specific English terms. There are some English terms, some phrases, collocations that will help you improve your writing and achieve a higher band score. So what is the IELTS language for? Introduction. Basically, we have what we call the introduction starters that I mentioned here, that you can use introduction starters. Now, introduction starters are commonly suitable for discussion and opinion essays. Like I said earlier, that they are not always applicable to all 5 essay types. Okay, so basically they are suitable for discussion and opinion essay types. Now, I listed a few examples of introduction starters here. This is not all, okay, but it's just for you to have an idea of what we mean by introduction starters. So for instance, we have, it is taught by some that. Okay, so when you want to rephrase, like we said that the first approach to introduction is to rephrase. When you want to rephrase the question, you can use this introduction starters. It is taught by some that inventing in bicycles can help blah 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 blah. You have started, you know, you have rephrased your question. Okay, it is considered by some or many that. It is argued by some or many that. Some people support the opinion that. Okay, so these are all introduction starters that you can use, okay, when starting your introduction. When you want to rephrase or paraphrase your introduction, they are great starters that would tell your examiner that you know what you are doing. Okay, so the second aspect here is the collocations, and I also mentioned collocations here, that you can also use collocation in your introduction. Now, what do we mean? This is an example of collocation. When we have something like, and this has become a major public health concern. Okay, so you had this to buttress your point. Okay, most times these are not given in your question, they are not a part of your question. But then after rephrasing your question, for example, when you are talking about obesity, okay, that maybe in recent times there has been a significant increase in the number of obese children, and this has become a major public health concern. I hope you understand. You can see how I linked that topic and added this, although it wasn't a part of my question. You will not be doing this as a part of your question, but you can include it, okay, to stress the fact that you know how to express your ideas in writing. I hope you get, and this would definitely impress your university. It's just like an addition to impress your examiner and tell them that you know what you are doing. I tell you that these are ingredients that would move your writing from a band 6 or 6.5 to a band 8 when you go the extra mile. Okay, so you can see how I linked. Okay, in recent times there has been a significant increase in the number of obese children, and this has become a major public health concern. right? So that's the collocation that you can add. This is another one, and this has attracted widespread attention. This is another example. Depending on the subject that you are discussing, okay, you can use this, and there are also more collocations. There are more than this, but this is just to give us an idea. Okay, this is another one, and this has sparked considerable public concern. Okay, for instance, let's say you're talking about stress. Okay, that in recent times and nowadays, people's lives are becoming increasingly stressful, and this has sparked considerable public concern. Okay, so you can just have that as, you know, an extra stuff. So these are the things that will take your writing from 6 to a band 8 and 8.5. Okay, now let's move to body paragraph 1 and 2. Okay, what are some languages that you're expected to use to help you achieve a higher band score? Okay, when you're scoring, now you don't just start your body paragraph 1 and 2 with just any English word. You don't just start it randomly. Okay, so there are specific words, there are specific terms that you're expected to use. Now, for instance, okay, you can use to begin with and another point to consider. Now you can see that here to begin with would apply to body paragraph 1. Okay, to begin with will apply to body paragraph 1, and another point to consider will apply to your body paragraph 2. I hope you get that. Now, like I said, this does not mean that it applies to all essay types. We are going to be looking at the essay types where you can use to begin with your body paragraph 1, and another point to consider your paragraph 2. Now, another introduction, another body paragraph starter is admittedly and nevertheless. Okay, so admittedly will apply to body paragraph 1, nevertheless will apply to body paragraph 2. Another one is on the one hand and on the other hand. On the one hand will apply to body paragraph 1, on the other hand will apply to body paragraph 2. Okay, and then we also have more starters that you can use. We have one major benefit, another clear advantage, one major cause, another reason, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we are going to be looking at where each of these starters apply in the essay type, which essay type each of these body paragraph starters apply to. We are going to be looking at them when we start our practice examples. Okay, so we are currently looking at the IELTS language, and then we looked at the introduction starters, we looked at collocations, and then we have also looked at body paragraph 1 and body paragraph 2 starters. So we're going to continue the IELTS language now, and the next part is the sentence linkers. In IELTS, we have what we call linkers. Okay, we have what we call linkers, and these are commonly called connecting words. Okay, they are words that you can use to connect, to move from one sentence to the other in a paragraph. Okay, you can use them within the paragraph to move from one sentence to the other. An example of such words we have at the moment: however, furthermore, although, similarly, ultimately, apparently, consequently, in addition, as a result, additionally, and then we have others. Okay, we have more, we have moreover, we have more often. Okay, so these are just few examples, and then when we start our practice examples, you see how we use these linkers in our examples. Okay, so I would say that you can use them to begin another point or link two points together. So then we move to the next part, which is conclusion starters. So our conclusion, which is the 4th paragraph in our essay, also have starters. They have specific words that you are to use. Okay, you don't just conclude randomly. Okay, so suitable words that you can use to write your conclusions include in conclusion, to conclude, and conclusively. Okay, so you can use in conclusion when you want to begin your conclusion. You can use to conclude, and you can use conclusively. Okay, so now let's move on to what to avoid in IELTS writing task 2. Okay, so we have looked at all the do's. We have looked at things that will help you move your writing from band 6 or 6.5 to a band 8, 8.5. Okay, but now wherever we have do's, we must definitely also have don'ts. Okay, because if you're only learning the do's and don't learn the don'ts, and you write the don'ts, or you apply the don'ts in your writing, it can also make you lose marks. Okay, so we also have things that we are not to do in IELTS writing, and the first one is that you have to avoid using contractions such as don't, can't, and won't. Okay, you have to avoid using contractions like don't, can't, won't, and the other types. Okay, why? This is because these words are basic words and then they are casual words. Okay, so basically I said you have to avoid using contractions such as don't, can't, and won't. And why to avoid these words? Because they are basic words, they are casual words, they are very simple words. Okay, so this would not, it would they are informal words, okay, that should not be used in your essay. Then you should also avoid using weak intensifiers such as really, very, a lot. Okay, instead of that, you can, when you want to express ideas, instead of using this weak intensifiers, you can use advanced vocabularies. Okay, so for example, here we have many people think online learning is very useful. Now, instead of very useful, you can change that, you can transform it into highly beneficial. Okay, so very useful is simple, is basic, is plain. But when you say okay, it's highly beneficial, then that is a step higher. That's an advanced vocabulary. Okay, so you have to avoid using weak intensifiers. Then another example, a lot of people prefer working from home. Now, instead of a lot of people, you should use something like many people prefer working from home. Okay, so this is something else that you should avoid. Then the third thing is to avoid using passive voice when you're writing. Okay, you write in active voice, not passive voice. For example, new policies were introduced by the government. Now, instead of saying new policies were introduced by the government, it should be the government introduced new policies. Okay, so the government are the doer, they are the subject, and then this becomes the object. This is what the government is doing. So you should write in active voice and not in passive voice. Okay, then another thing you should avoid is repeating basic vocabularies. Okay, avoid repeating words, especially in a paragraph. Okay, repeating a particular vocabulary often is a red flag. It shows that you do not have a wide range of vocabulary or words that you can use. Okay, so for instance, we have this problem is very serious. This problem affects many people. This problem should be solved. You can see that in just one paragraph. See that problem is used 3 times, which is a negative, is a red flag. So instead of that, you can say this issue is highly serious. You can say that problem has been replaced with issue, but the meaning is still retained the meaning, right? This issue is highly serious. It affects many people and should be addressed promptly. Okay, so this is how you write like a pro. Okay, this is highly wrong and you should avoid doing this at any time. Okay, it is best to avoid repeating the same words in a paragraph. Okay, if you need to use similar words, then you can probably wait until we get to the next paragraph. So in paragraph 1, as much as possible, avoid repeating the same vocabulary. Okay, when you can actually find synonyms, find similar words and replace it with. Okay, so now with all the do's and don'ts being cleared out of the way, we are now going to move into our first essay type for this tutorial, which is double question essay. Okay, so I'm going to move into double question essay now.